What's your quick take on the JFK files that's come out?
We were fucking right. That's what I got to say, man. We were fucking right. The Israelis were absolutely involved in killing John F. Kennedy. If you had talked about this, see, now I'm excited. Bro, if you talked about JFK and you said Israel was involved, they would consider you a fringe conspiracy theorist. They would want to silence you. They'd say, get this guy out of here. He's a kook, blah, blah, blah. But now we know, because the files finally got declassified and they unredacted a bunch of the stuff, we know for a fact what we've been talking about forever. And the long short of it is this, because I know a lot of you guys might be saying, JFK, what is this guy talking about? Long story short is this. John F. Kennedy found out that Israel had a nuclear program that they were working on. He didn't want them to have nuclear weapons for obvious reasons, because now we have the destabilization in the Middle East that we have now, thanks to the Israelis getting this nuclear technology. How'd they get it? They stole uranium, higher grade uranium, from the United States, out of Pennsylvania. This is a great state of Pennsylvania, by the way, from the Apollo facility, and they illegally smuggled it over there, and they used it to create their nuclear program that they have now. And JFK worked really hard to try to get them to stop, and basically Israel lied to them. They made a fake control panel room, had the inspectors come in. JFK figured out it was a lie. And then we find out that James Jesus Angleton, who was a high-ranking CIA officer back then, basically helped Israel procure their nuclear program that they currently have now after JFK was killed in the 1960s. And he talked about this in closed Senate hearings back in the 70s that were classified. And finally, now we got access to those hearings of what he said in there, where he basically admitted that he helped Israel procure their nuclear program. And we have these files that are unredacted that show that Israeli intelligence was involved in a lot of these situations, and they had been redacted there for decades. And it said, even when you look at the document, on the side it says, like, CIA is okay with declassification except for brackets. All of the brackets were basically Israeli intelligence, and that's what we got a chance to look at with these 80,000 documents. So the conspiracy theorists were proven right. Now, I want to say one thing, and then we'll go to the next person, because I do think that this is important. Look, some people say it's a coincidence. I don't think it's a coincidence, but I find it interesting that the most famous movie that depicts the JFK assassination is a movie by Oliver Stone, 1991, called JFK. Good movie. And in the movie, it documents the pursuit of the JFK assassination from a prosecutor out of New Orleans called Garrison, Jim Garrison, if I'm not mistaken. And the interesting thing is, if you watch the movie, entertaining movie, they talk about the mafia angle, they talk about the CIA angle, they talk about inside job, etc. But one thing that's interesting is that the Zionist angle and the Israeli intelligence angle is completely left out. Well, if you research the movie and you find out who funded the movie, who funded it? A guy named Arnon Milchan. Feel free to Google it on your phones right now. Check the early life. I think we know what we're going to see there. But yeah, definitely cha-ching, a big one. Jewish Zionist billionaire running around Hollywood, right? He was the one that funded the JFK movie, as many other Hollywood movies. Now, why is this important? The reason why this is important is because the guy went on Israeli television and admitted that he was a spy. But not only was he a spy, he was a spy for their unacknowledged nuclear program. So let me get this straight. The president that tried to stop Israel from getting nukes was assassinated. We now know that Israeli intelligence was involved. The guy that funded the movie that is the biggest blockbuster hit when it comes to JFK assassination that most Americans are familiar with was a spy for Israeli intelligence for their unacknowledged nuclear program that JFK tried to destroy. Crazy. Absolutely nuts. But then if you say this and you make this connection, they'll say, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Well, I don't think it's a mistake that this guy funded the movie and made sure to keep the Zionist angle out of this movie, because I think if the American public knew that a former president tried to stop Israel from getting nuclear weapons, they got them anyway, illegally, and potentially had a hand in him being assassinated, the American public would not stand for that. They'd be extremely angry. So I think him funding it and being involved in the movie was very important. Now, do I think Oliver Stone, is responsible? Who knows? But what I will say is follow the money. When you follow the money, you figure out where we're going to go. Right? We look at Trump's campaign. Who funded it mostly? Myron Mickelson. Now we might go to war with Iran because she's a hardcore Zionist and wants to ensure that all of Israel's enemies are destroyed to preserve Israel's hegemony in the Middle East. So if you follow the money, you're always going to go. And this is something that I was taught as an agent. Always follow the money. So, yeah, interesting enough, man. That's my thoughts on JFK and the fact that, like an Israeli spy funded that movie that was a part of their unacknowledged nuclear program is just crazy to me. And, I think we need to wake more people up and let them know, like, dude, like, this is wild. So, and there were many other facts that wanted JFK gone. I'm not going to just sit here and say, the Jews. Like, the CIA wanted him gone. Organized crime wanted him gone. They all had their axe to grind with him. But I find it very interesting how the Israeli intelligence angle is almost never touched upon, and it's censored. And it's been censored that way for a very long time. And we got, it took us 60, 80 years to get the documents unclassified finally to see this angle? So we were right, man. We were vindicated.